บายดีนี่เป็นรายการเบิงเศรษฐกิจลาวข้าพเจ้ามีแขกพิเศษศาสตราจารย์มานาบุฟูจิมุระมาจากญี่ปุ่นเพิ่นได้เดินทางเข้ามาลาวกับเวียกค้นคว้าผลกระทบของการพัฒนาแล้วเศรษฐกิจหรือภาษาอังกฤษเพิ่นเรียกว่า Economic Corridor และเพิ่นได้เดินทางเข้ามาพร้อมนักศึกษา10กว่าคนเพื่อเฮ็ดการทัศนศึกษาข้าพเจ้ารู้จักเพิ่นตั้งแต่ในสมัยเป็นนักศึกษาอยู่มหาวิทยาลัยฮาวายอยู่อเมริกาได้20กว่าปีแล้วเพราะฉะนั้นมื้อนี้เป็นโอกาสที่ดีที่ข้าพเจ้าจะได้เห็นเพิ่นอีกเทื่อนึงและสิได้ถามเอาความเห็นของเพิ่นเกี่ยวกับเศรษฐกิจของลาวปะเพิ่นกำลังท่าเฮาอยู่สวัสดีสวัสดี
Nice to meet you again.
Nice to meet you again.
Yeah.
It's very nice to see you again, Manabu, after so many years.
Yeah, it's almost 24 years. It's been
Really, 24
long
years,
time,
that's a long time, yeah. I remember you when I was at the university and I started new and you were presenting your research. And that's how I get to see you.
Okay.
You may not recognize me because I was a freshman and you were ready to finish your school.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. This time I really appreciate your help. On the way of this travel, I contacted you and you kindly helped me arrange students' activities, visiting Mekong River Commission, as well as Namgung Dam tour yesterday. So
I'm very happy to do that.
Learned a lot. Yeah, thank you very much for your help. Yeah.
I'm glad you're here and especially bringing these students. It's very nice.
All of them are first-time visitors.
May I ask a quick question? What's the purpose of you bringing students here?
Yes, these people here are my junior year and senior year students under my seminar class, which is a tutorial, small-size class in Japanese university system, and it's my customary event for their activities every year to bring them over to Asian developing countries. This time is Laos. Last year was Myanmar. He went to Myanmar last year, and some of them went to Myanmar last year, and the others are first time to Laos. To learn about on-the-ground situation. Seeing is believing. So they could really sense what it is like to be living in countries like Laos. Yes. So.
It's very nice exposure for them, huh?
Yes, it's an exposure. Yes.
Would you mind if I ask your students a couple of questions?
Yes.
About their experience here. We'll start from you. What attracted your interest the most? Can you share with us?
When I went to Laos, I feel interesting culture or thoughts of Laos. For example, I went to Buddha Park. I find or
You mean Buddha Park?
yes, Buddha Park. I find or learned variety of memorial statue. There are a lot of meanings. I can know Laos is interesting culture of.
Oh, thank you very much for your interest in Lao culture, and I'm glad that you enjoy your experience here.
Yes, I did.
Thank you. And how about you? What did you learn, or you saw something you like or dislike? Could you share with us?
Yeah, I am investigating about coffee industries in Laos. Yeah, I went to the coffee farm and I went to many cafes in Vientiane and I drank many coffees. All beans were made in Laos. I thought there is a great potential to be a world famous coffee producing country. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And what about you? Let's see. How about the people? What do you think about our people?
I have been here for the first time. The population of Laos is small, but the people are very kind to foreign people and very heartwarming. And they are ready to help me anytime when I am in need. And I think the atmosphere of Laos people is similar to Japan. So I like Laos people.
Thank you. It's nice to hear that.
I'd like to come back to Laos.
Oh.
Wow, great. Okay. So, has anybody here ever been to Laos before?
1 minute before. It's the first time for us.
Everybody?
Everybody.
First time to come to Laos. Wow. Okay. Would you come back?
Yes.
Emphatic yes.
Okay. Now we come back to the economic question. Manabu, Professor Manabu, I should say.
You too.
I have learned that you have worked for ADB for many years.
Yeah,
and you've
right.
been coming to this country and other countries in this region
Yes.
for many years, and now you're teaching at a university in
Tokyo.
Tokyo.
Yes.
What university?
Aoyama Gakuin University. It's a private school for about with the size of 20,000 students.
That's quite big.
Yeah, it's relatively big. Yes.
By the way, I'm more interested in your knowledge because you have a lot of experience here. Not just that you bring students with you here, which is very interesting, but you know a lot about this region and about Laos as well. And you told me that you've been to 12 of the 14 international border
crossing
You've been
points,
to many more border crossing than me.
Yes. I think so. I think so.
You are obviously an expert.
I hope to
Lao
be.
economy. So
Yes.
I hope to get something from you, and I want you to share what you know about the Lao economy and the region. So I have a couple of questions that I want to ask. So you came here this time. You probably noticed a lot of Chinese presence.
Yes.
Especially the train project, and you probably noticed many other construction projects
right,
that that they are very visible. And for sure Chinese came here, they do a lot of investment. There's a lot of benefits that Laos gain from that, but there are also some side effect or externalities we could call that the government realize, acknowledge, and the society also notice. For example, chemical application with agricultural crop and Chinese product that do not have label that Lao consumer understand. For example, drug chemical can be very dangerous. But the overall, we can say that Lao people recognize that there's a lot of benefit that Chinese brought with them here. But many Lao people are feeling quite uneasy as well because there are so many Chinese came in. Many of them, they came here, invest, work, and many decided to stay and not going back. What is your view about this? And you see any potential problem from a lot of Chinese presence?
Large-scale investments, yes. So, for public infrastructure projects like rapid railway coming from Botan down south to Vientiane all the way 470 kilometers. It's a big, huge project. And I saw the construction sites of this railway as well as highway between Vientiane and Van Bien as I traveled from northern Laos down to Vientiane. The first concern, I'm sure all the economists share, is the debt sustainability.
Debt sustainability
of the government. As I understand it, Lao government has a 30% share in the railway joint venture company, but the construction of their share has to be financed somehow, and I'm sure they will financed from Chinese Export-Import Bank or Development Bank. And in the end, you have to make sure the debt service can be maintained. And in the end, you have the asset of infrastructure, such as railway, in a healthy financial, healthy financial condition. That part, I think, is not really transparent to external observers outside of China and Laos governments. So that's a concern. I saw a huge construction and almost like land-changing operations in Boteng area, as well as Luampabang and all the way to Vientiane. So that's the first concern. And another economic concern is issue of maintenance. Once you build large-scale infrastructure like highways, and bridges, and railways, it's Lao government who has to maintain. So that's another related concern.
That require a lot of resource itself, right, for maintenance. Okay.
That's the first impression I got. And yeah, for healthy financial public finance, you need to do a very careful benefit cost analysis before you start construction. That's one of the areas I'm concerned whether Lao government and Chinese government together did relatively rigorous analysis before they started construction, which I'm very sure. I hope they will adjust as the things go on. They will adjust to be a healthier public finance toward a healthy finance direction. So that's the impression of China's investment in terms of public construction. Another is a private developments from China coming into special economic zones, specific and special economic zones, to Boteng specific economic zone, as well as this Golden Triangle. Golden Triangle SCZ, yes. These two SCZ we saw because I traveled from Chiang Rai and crossed the 4th International Bridge, Mekong Bridge, over to Phue Sai. On the way, I crossed over to this Golden Triangle SCZ, the huge development. I don't know the exact number of Chinese people there, but I heard already 100,000 Chinese
That's a lot.
doing construction, the investment, and the service industry. Tourism industry, receiving lots of Chinese tourists from Yunnan province.
You mentioned the 100,000 Chinese, they are staying there, working, doing businesses, or they are visitors?
They are semi-residents already.
I see, okay.
I understand it's a semi-residents.
I see, okay.
So it's a huge proportion compared to the local Lao people.
Right.
Yeah, and also again in Boteng Special Economic Zone, I saw similar phenomenon happening, and all the condominiums being built there are meant for Chinese.
All for Chinese.
Because Lao people cannot afford buying those condominiums. So in a way, it's very shocking to see it, but it may be a good short-term impact because they get a lot of capital coming in, flowing in. But in the medium to long-term perspective, I'm not quite sure how Lao people might absorb what's happening. So
I see.
That's my answers to your first question.
My next question is regarding Japanese presence in Laos. You know, China is #1 investor in Laos, and increasingly more Chinese are visiting this country. China has been #1 investor for quite a number of years now. But I'm quite curious, you know, why there are few Japanese visiting this country relatively, and few Japanese investment in this country. Say compared to Korea. Korea has more investment than Japanese, and Korean visitors in about 5 times more Japanese visitors in this country last year, which is very surprised to me because Korea is a lot smaller country. Than Japan. You know, so I would think that there should be more Japanese visiting here, but there must be a reason why there are fewer Japanese investment and fewer Japanese tourists here. Could you share with me why there are few Japanese investment, few Japanese visitors, and what are lacking this country lacking that would interest Japanese investors and Japanese visitors?
I see. First element would be a long distance. Japan is far away from Laos, and Laos is a landlocked, trying to be land-linked, but still a landlocked country.
Right.
Japanese investors came to Thailand first when they were looking for investment opportunities outside Japan in mid-80s. So they started out in Thailand. Historically, so Thailand is the base for Japanese investment in Southeast Asia.
That's right.
So compared to Thailand, I think Laos and neighbor countries like Cambodia, Myanmar are just receiving new attentions
Right.
from Japanese investors. So historical element and also physical element of long distance
Right.
could have been one of the reasons that Japanese investors have not really come to Laos as much as say Korea or China is very close to you.
Right.
So it's easy for them
Right.
to
sharing border,
Yes,
Laos and China. And actually, given that there are fewer Japanese investment here, but I noticed in the past couple of years there's more interest of Chinese investors in this country. But maybe you can.
Yes, I think one way to attract more attentions from Japanese investors is to I understand that Koreans started to come, tourists started to come to Laos based on some media exposures of famous star or celebrity.
That's true.
came to Van Bien,
Yeah.
and then suddenly Korean young people started to come to Korea.
Right.
So maybe the first element of attracting Japanese is to do similar celebrity, I don't know, catch. So you might invite some Japanese celebrity to Laos and let them stay for a long time, and then let them speak for themselves the attractions of Lao culture for tourism, and also for serious investments. I think my take on Lao economy is that you have comparative advantage in agriculture and food and ecotourism, I think tourism based on nature
Right,
tourism,
right, yeah.
which has been the backbone of backpacking people's attraction.
Right.
Maybe Japanese might wake up to the similar attraction
Right.
of Laos,
Yeah.
because relative to Thailand and relative to Vietnam, you have nature as an attraction. So that area is your comparative advantage. So I think you should put more emphasis, promotion to your comparative
Ecotourism,
advantage. Yes,
right?
ecotourism.
Laos is very rich with natural resources
yes.
suitable for
Yes.
ecotourism.
Yeah.
You're right. I want to ask you about the economic corridor development.
Right.
And I think it has been a topic that you are interested in.
Yes,
You've
that's
been,
my research area.
Doing research, and recently there have been development, building a corridor development to stimulate the economy in this region, right? And I want to ask you, you have been traveling around these countries and in Laos many times over many years.
Yes.
What do you notice? What have you learned from your experience here? The corridor development have created economic benefit and maybe other impacts that may be non-benefit. Could you share your what you saw, what you have learned with us?
Yeah, my research interest in the last 15 years is on the economic impact of economic corridor development, particularly cross-border transport infrastructure. And you have Laos is in the middle of Indochina area, and you have been transforming the country from landlocked to land-linked situation. And as far as I observe, the biggest positive impact is the growth of big cities. Vientiane, capital Vientiane, has been growing so fast, as well as Phnom Penh for Cambodia and Yangon for Myanmar. Those low-income countries can gain from higher growth and higher prosperity first in the big cities.
I see.
That's been very obvious.
Urbanization.
Urbanization, yes.
Stimulate urbanization.
So then hopefully those benefits, economic benefits will spill over to other smaller cities. In Laos's case, Southichack, Pakse, other cities.
Pakse is actually experienced a high economic growth and the city has been developing quite rapidly in recent years. Actually, Pakse is the second largest city,
already.
Cluster of city.
So first benefits go to those big cities when you open up to neighbor countries by integration, by integrating to neighbor countries. But the next sequence should be spill over to other cities and even rural areas.
Yeah, smaller city and rural area, right?
That process is still yet to be clearly seen. So I hope to see in the long run dispersion of the
what is
benefits.
required to have a spillover benefit to smaller city and rural area in your view?
Slow transition of investment priorities from node cities, big cities, to intermediate sized cities, to connect trunk roads to access roads, rural farms, etc. Gradually, I think national governments of Cambodia, Laos and Myanmar should start paying attention to those areas. Otherwise, there would be a sense of social inequity.
Right. Without
that will gradually grow the sense of inequality.
Right. That could be another problem.
Yes.
Right. When inequality is too high. Okay.
There will be winners, big winners, and relatively small losers. But yet the gap widens.
I see.
Rich people get richer and richer, but poor people can only slowly get better off. So I think fast-growing countries, Laos, should maybe better start paying more attention to the sense of the ordinary people.
My last question to you.
Okay.
You know a lot. I know you know a lot about Lao economy. As it is now, looking forward, what do you see that could be potential problem that Laos may face, and what could government do to avoid those problems?
I think you would share my sense of too fast changes in land use. Yes, land is an abundant resource for Laos.
Yeah, Laos is an abandoned is a land abandoned country.
Yes. And you have seen that Chinese and Thai and Vietnamese agricultural businesses have been coming.
They're taking advantage of cheap land.
Grabbing land.
Right.
I don't know how to call it, but land grabbing, water grabbing, resource grabbing. Because private profit-oriented businesses have big incentives to do that.
Right.
So in 5 years to 10 years in the future, public sector stakeholders in Laos should start paying attention more to the sustainability of the soil, water, and forest for the sake of the future generations of our people. That would be, I think, something a lot of people, private sector as well as public sector, people should share, and also invite observers from outside, Japan, Europe and America should be invited to join in the discussion of maintaining Laos as healthy natural resources in a sustainable way.
You know, many people said that Laos could be something like a Switzerland in Asia, and I think that's a good idea, but there are some challenges that Laos need to deal with, right? For example, like right now, Laos is a land abandoned country with very little population relatively. So as you said, that big country with a lot of population came into Laos and take advantage of cheap land. And so there is possibility that Laos could lose control of its very valuable resources, right? As you mentioned. So I think this would be something that Lao government should pay attention to in the future, and maybe not just inviting many countries to talk, but maybe inviting other countries to invest in Laos. Right?
Let me point out interesting investment by small size but very valuable experience by Japanese business. It is some blocks down there. It's called Laodi Distillery Company invested by Japanese entrepreneurs.
Laodi. I heard that.
Laodi, yes.
I heard that Laodi won second place in international
Hong Kong
competition.
Rum Festival. Yes.
Rum Festival,
Rum
right?
Festival.
Just recently, right? Last year or something?
Yes, last year.
Last year.
This Mr. Inoue who runs this factory in suburb of Vientiane. He's an engineer. He's a technical person, so he knows how to brew from sugarcane to the rum place. And he has been helping Lao farmers to learn how to make rums. And the products is now on the shelves of convenience stores and souvenir shops. And many Japanese are paying attention to it as a souvenir, good souvenir, as well as a place to drink their products. This is one case in which 100% made in Laos, 100% made in Laos product contributed to the not too big but small way for the growth of the Lao economy. If we start to see many of these kinds of examples based on agricultural resources, putting a lot of values to their resources and selling to niche markets, then you will see good examples, models for sustainable agri-based industry. That's one example. Also, another example is ecotourism. Ecotourism. One example is Yamamoto Farm in Pak Song. He started making first coffee in their land, in their concession land, small concession. But later he moved on to strawberry farms, and then they have a plot of land where visitors, tourists come and pick strawberries on the spot.
That's agro-tourism.
On the spot, they charged a certain amount of money per hour or per 30 minutes, and the tourists are eating, picking strawberries.
Okay.
That's actually a standard Japanese practice done in Japanese suburban horticulture sites.
That's a really good idea.
Good transfer of technology.
And it's a very good idea, because really if you grow a lot of strawberry, instead of hiring workers, you have tourists going there picking themselves. But hiring workers provide job, but in Laos this is a fact in Pak Song. Sometimes farm, this is one of the issue that the investor face. Sometimes they experience shortage of workers, especially during harvest season. And I think this concept will be very practical over there. And one thing I want to share with you that I noticed, I went to many companies owned by different nationalities in Laos, and I noticed, Japanese investment here, Japanese companies, farm or factory. I noticed managers, investors emphasize using Lao workers, and there are few Japanese personnel there, and they have programs that transfer knowledge and skill to Lao workers, and clean. Farm, factory, everywhere that went that owned by Japanese, they are very clean. Which is nice.
We are meticulously clean species. And students too. They tend to be clean. Yes.
I really appreciate your time, Manabu. And
You too, you too,
especially,
you too.
I get to see you again
This has been
and
a
after so many years.
wonderful experience,
Yeah.
wonderful reunion.
I hope you come back every year with students.
Yes.
Yeah, and we can do this and we can share, we can learn from you
Now
every
I
time
know
you
you
come
have the media outlet, so more reasons to come on back.
It's nice to have something in common, right?
Yeah.
From graduate from same
Yes,
school.
yes.
This is great. Yeah.
It's been great.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Manabu.
Thank you. ขอบใจ
ขอบใจ